Hi, my name is Dean Brown, designer of DVG Spruance Leader, and I'm just going to create a playtest video. I have a playtest package ready to go out, so just wanted to provide an overview of how the game is played, so that so once you get all the pieces assembled, you'll be ready to start. So let's walk through the steps. First step, pick which campaign you want to play. Currently the playtest package has two, North Atlantic Skirmishes and Med Black Sea Assault, so I'm excited to play this one. It uses the Atlantic ships, so there's a couple of packages, one a Pacific ships package and Atlantic ships package, so that if you look on the card, you can see that it has the year and the sea, so this is Atlantic. So basically you are going to use all Atlantic ships for this campaign. I'm going to play the medium campaign, which means that I have 6 targets. This campaign is a little unique in that we can't go into the Black Sea to attack these targets until we've gotten the task force track down to this level, or the activity level track down to here. And we don't have either, so we don't include these targets in our target deck, but we do have other targets that are part of that deck. So I did create a target card deck that just includes the targets for that particular campaign. Then start off, so once I selected the campaign, then I want to set up my cups. So I have a cup for my unknown enemy subs that I draw randomly from, and then there's the damage chit cups that you draw when your ship gets damaged. There's a missile side if you get hit by a missile, and a torpedo side if you get hit by a torpedo, and then there's some hull damage counters to keep track of how many hull damage hits your ships have taken. So those 2 cups get set up initially. So then, right, so set up the target deck, got my cups ready. I shuffled my encounter deck, and I have my enemy sub deck shuffled in place, and my enemy surface ship deck shuffled and in place, and then my event cards are shuffled, and as I mentioned, I built my target deck already. Alright, next thing to do is to select which ships and commander you want to include in the task force. So as mentioned here, we start off with 120 SO points to purchase our ships and any ancillary equipment like helicopters, and then each of the ships and commanders have 6 skill levels: newbie, green, average, skilled, veteran, and warrior. This just shows for when we start the campaign what those skill levels need to be, so I can have one ship or commander at skilled, 2 at average, 2 at green, 1 at newbie, and then any additional ones past the 6 here would all be green. That's what the asterisk means. Alright, so I selected my ships and my commanders. So my commanders are Paulson, who has an attack focus. He's at average, and then I have Ewan, he's a defense focus, and I have it green. And then I have Tycho, the Elite Golf, which is my 1 skilled ship. Benefit of that is the Tychos can provide a missile shield for the rest of the task force, so that when my task force gets attacked, I can use this ship's missile defense value. So I would subtract 2 from all missile attacks against my task force, which is great. Knox class frigate at green. Kid class destroyer at green, just for fun. I pulled in the Iowa battleship. Probably not the best purchase here, but I am, if I do get close enough to ships, I think within range 3, then yeah, pretty devastating attacks. Destroyer, the bird, Knox class, oops, destroyer bird here, Knox, which is green, Knox class frigate green, Ferris, this was my one newbie frigate, and then a Farragut destroyer, Mahon, which is green. So a lot of green ships. Luckily they're going to level up pretty quickly. So that's the setup for the campaign. So now we're going to go ahead and start with our target missions. Okay, so I'm going to pick the first target, and it is enemy ASW forces that I have to destroy, Slava to utilize, and an Alpha sub. Get 6 VPs for it. Has a task force of 1, which means I can reduce my task force track by 1 if I destroy the target. Air defense I ignore because I don't have carriers yet, but they're coming. So I need to intercept it and destroy all the surface ships. So in order to get my 6 VPs, destroy the surface ships, I don't need to destroy the Alpha, but it could be painful. So if we look on our map, 6 is here, so let's put our target location. So there's a potential fighter attack. So next step is to decide which ships I want to take in commander. So I'm going to take Ewan, my defense commander. I'm going to take the Elite Golf because he's going to be great protector. Take my Iowa. Let's take the. Let's see which one's better. Let's take the Valdez and put him here, and then we'll take the Ferris and put him there. So basically, there's 3 options for where you put your task force ships. 2 spots are the screening force, so they're always fast. Which basically in leader series means they get to act before the enemy does. Ships and subs do in aircraft. Then I have the main force, which is slow, which means they act after that. So the screening force, they get a detect plus 1, but they suffer 2 stress. And I put 3 chits in for each position into the draw cup, which I'll set up shortly. And then yeah, the main force, basically they're slow, 1 stress, there's 2 chits each, and then I can put some ships into protecting force. For example, some of the missions are escort, supplies, and troops. They would go here. They get no actions. One of the advantages of having ships here, though, is that they do lose 1 stress. In this position, they can't do anything. They can be attacked. There's 1 chit in the cup for that. But they can't really do any actions. So if one of my ships gets overly stressed, I can push them into the protecting force spot. Alright, so basically we're going to put together our cup now. So there's my 3 2s, my 3 1s. I have position 3 occupied, so there's 2 chits for that. And then position 4. And I have my 2 chits for that. So all these are going to go into the draw cup. So when enemy forces are attempting to detect, I would draw from that cup to determine who they're going to detect and potentially attack. Alright, so I picked my ships, got them placed on the task force. The one last step is to, and I do this last because I don't want to know ahead of time, or can't know ahead of time what task force I'm going to run into. But now I have to place 5 task forces on the map. So it could be in one of 4 locations, 1 to 2 here, 3 to 4 here, 5 to 7 here, and 8+ there. Since I'm only going this far, hopefully most of them will end up in the 5 to 8 range. So 8, 8, 1. So I got 1 in here, 2 and 8, and then 8, 8 again. A lot of 8s, which is good. So I have 1 enemy task force I have to deal with in this spot. The rest of them are over in here in the Black Sea. And right in my missile is here. Alright, so, oh, shoot, one thing I forgot to do was purchase Ordnance. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, from an Ordnance perspective, so if we look here on our ship card, you could see that there's 3 sections here: ship, sub, and aircraft. And under the attack values, it shows what ordnance is available. So let me see if I pull this up a little bit. So you can see here that for ship attacks, I can use the RGM-84, the Harpoon, the RGM-109, the TASM, and my gun at range 1 or 2. So the TASMs are in a VLS, which means I can launch up to 4 missiles at a time against a particular target. The non-VLS ordnance, I can only fire two at a time, so I can only fire 2 harpoons in a given turn. For the subs, I have ASROC, again that's VLS, so I can fire up to 4 ASROC missile torpedoes, or I can fire close range MK-46s. And then we do have potential for aircraft attack. So I have the SM-2 in a VLS, so I can fire up to 4 SM-2 missiles. They have a range of 4. The Iowa pretty much just has the harpoons and obviously the guns. And then my frigates basically have harpoon missiles and guns, and then against subs, ASROCs and torpedoes. Have RIM-7s, missiles, very short range of 1, so they're not going to be super useful in a fight against aircraft. But if something gets close, I can attack it. So I went ahead and purchased my ordnance. I have, per my campaign, 22 SO points I can use. So I bought a couple of TASMs. They're 1 SO point each. For RGM-4s, they're 2 SO points for 4 missiles, and then ASROC's 2 SO for 2 missiles, and then against aircraft, SM-2, 2 SO points for 4 missiles. And then same thing down here. It's hard to know how much ordnance to purchase. Usually I have ordnance left over, but you don't know what you're going to be up against. I did only purchase 18 SO points of ordnance, so the Ferris can't attack. I don't have any ordnance against subs, so he's pretty much out of the sub fight. But I managed to save 4 SO points for future use. So I did fill out my card. I'm going against target 6. Ewan is the commander. Identified the 4 ships that are involved here, and so now I am ready to execute the mission. Okay, now ready to start our mission. So we take our task force counter and we move it 1 step closer. So when we're checking our steps here, so task force movement, we just moved it. Enemy air attack check. So there are no air attacks in the current area. Don't have to worry about that. Now an enemy task force activity check. So we do have an enemy task force here. So we do have to draw an encounter card. So let's draw our encounter card here. And you can see that there's 3 activity levels: high, low, none. This is for the carrier expansion, which we're not using, and I think it's a surface. So, alright, so I need a roll for the activity level. Our current track says we currently add 2. So I rolled a 3 plus 2 means that we're at low activity. So let's flip it over. So low activity is 2 ships and 1 sub. We have add 1 to all sub movements, command and control of 7, which we'll get into later, and then if I destroy all the ships I get 2 SO points. Alright, so when in our tactical setup, so we select our enemy ships. So there's 2 ships. So we have a Utiloi and a Krivak ship. And then we have 1 sub, but it's an unknown sub. So we're going to draw counter from our enemy sub cup. Alright, so put our ship counters on here. So ship 1 has a star, which means that it has to be destroyed this encounter or our mission's over. Plus we get a VP and an XP. Whoever sinks it gets an XP. So we're going to take our counters, ship 1 starred, ship 2 on the non-starred side, and then our enemy sub. Okay, so we're in the setup. We selected our ships, we pulled out our enemy sub counter, so now we want to determine the range, and there is an enemy starting range table on the display. So roll die, so 10, and there's a placement roll. This was a 0 modifier, so that's 10, so that means our surface ship is placed at 6. Roll for ship 2, 9. Minus 1, so that's 8. Check here, that's a 6 as well. And then, let's see, our sub has a placement of +1. So we roll for that. Roll a 9 for that. So that becomes +1 is a 10, so even that starts at 6. So basically this is an unknown sub. Detects our task force on 7-9. Has a 1 for the noise management roll, so we subtract 1 when we attempt to detect it. And basically it's unknown, not sure what it is. So when we flip it over we roll to see, and you can see here that there's a 1 to 4 is a neutral and 5 to 10 is an enemy, but we're not there yet. We don't do that till either we detect it or it detects us. Okay. So they're all at Azimuth, so now the next step is to determine Azimuth. So there's numbers here on the tactical display to determine where we're at. So if we were at range 3 and we rolled a 1, then we would place our counter here. If we were at range 5 and rolled a 9, 8, 9, or 10 actually, then we would put our ship here. But so we're here, so either 1 to 5 means that we put it here, or 6 to 10 in there. 6, 10, 7. So all 3 in the same spot. Okay. So we set our battle turn to 5, and then we draw an event card. Alert crew, pick 1 main force ship to be fast during the encounter. Nice. Alright, so I have my four ships here and my task force commander. So I am going to make the Ferris fast because our Iowa is not useful until we get our surface ships into range 3. Okay, so now our encounter is set up. So now we go to execution. We repeat this until the encounter is complete, or get our 5 battle turns done. So first step, sonobuoy detection check. So if we had used our helicopter to drop sonobuoys, then we would check to see if there was a sub in that space. We would try to detect it. We don't have any sonobuoys. So next one is fast task force actions. So ship, helicopter, or commander. Alright. So, excuse me. Sorry. So we have our 3 fast ships and our commander, who has a one slow action, and because our Iowa is our command ship, we get another slow action. So we have 2 slow actions. So we can't do any commander actions here, but we can do this. Alright. So let's see, the most dangerous ship here is the one that we need to kill is the Utiloi. So it is at range 6, which means we can hit it with our TASMs. We have 2 of them. So the Valdez has a detection of 5/8 against ships, and has a -1 skill modifier. And the Ferris has a 5/8 and a -1 skill modifier as well. So, alright, let's try to detect it. So we need a 6/9. Roll a 2, so that didn't work. Alright, let's try with our Ferris, a 6/9 again, and another 2, so that's not detected. So let's go with we'll go with our Tycho 4/6/9, ship +1. I was hoping to have the other ships detect it and then fire a missile at it. So I rolled a 10. Which means it's detected. So 4/6/9. So added one, so it's 11. So there's 3 detection levels. So I did detect it at detection level 3 because it's greater than the 3rd number. So if I had a 4 or 5 modified roll, it's detection level 1, 6 through 8 is detection level 2, 9 plus is detection level 3. So detection level 3, which means I get a +3 modifier on my attacks. But I'm out of all of my fast actions. Alright. So fast actions are complete. Now it's enemy sub-actions, move the enemy unit. So it's this enemy movement chart here. So let's roll for the sub. 10. It has a movement modifier of -2. So that's 8. So it's flank or -1 range. So can't flank out this way, so we're just going to move it 1. You know what? I did forget to add the range modifier to my detection roll. So that was a 10 plus 1 for 11, minus 2 is 9, so it's still detected at level 3. Gotcha, okay. Alright, enemy shipment. This enemy ship movement of +2, so I rolled a 2, so it's at 4, so it's patrol. And enemy ship 2 is 6, +1, 7, so it goes to range -1. Alright, so next step, for each enemy unit, draw for contacts. So let's start with our sub. So go into our jet cup, which represents our forces, and draw a number 2. So it's going to attempt to detect Valdez. Valdez has a noise management number of 1, which means we get to subtract 1 from the roll. Plus it's at range 5, so there's a -2 for the roll. Detects 179. You roll a 10. So 9, 8, so that's detected at level 1. So, but let's roll to see, and it's rolled at 8, which means that that's a real sub. So go to our sub file, and we have a kilo, no star, so that's good. So sub 1 and enemy sub 1, so we replace that with enemy sub 1. So it's detected our ship, it's done. So now we go to, let's go to enemy ship 2. Draw contact, so it's number 4, which is our Ferris, 0 noise modifier. So we do have a -1 again for range. So we rolled a 2. Didn't detect it, so this goes back in our cup. And then finally the last one, draw another counter, so it's going after our Tycho, and it has a noise modifier of 1, and again it's at range -2, so -3, 9, 8, 7, 6. So it did detect it. Range 1. Okay. So move for each enemy. So draw for contacts. Detect detected ships. So if we use our action to detect something, we don't have any attack, so we don't do an attack. So none of our ships are going to attack this turn, but next turn they can. Alright, so now we're in our slow actions so now we're in our slow actions, 4 steps here. So again, ship, helicopter, or commander. So my sub can attack at range 4, it's currently at range 5, but next turn if it moves it's in range. But I do have detection level here of +3, so in my Tycho does have a missile. It has already used its action. Usually I get a turn. Sometimes I get an extra turn. You can see Paulson can give a ship a turn. This one can't. So I guess we're done. The Iowa can try to detect the ship. So at 5-9, let's try to detect the crewback. Rolled a 5. I have a 0 modifier for my skill level, and that's at -1 range, so not detected. Alright. So all of our slow actions decrement the battle turn. And what I forgot to add to that was to decrement the detection levels. So this goes down to detection level 0. And This goes down to detection level 0, and this goes down to detection level 2. Alright. Alright, so we moved our battle turn down, so now we're in the next battle turn. Sonobuoy detection check. Nope. Fast actions. So I'm going to see. Utilay only requires 1 hit. So I am going to use one of my TASMs. So 5/8 minus 2 for range, but plus 1 for ship. So I subtract 1 from my die roll. And I rolled a 6, which means 6 gets modified to a 5. That hits, and right, 1 hull damage. So we sank the Utilay. So clear that out, put this back in here. Alright, so I can't end the turn until the end. I can't end the engagement until the end of the turn. These 2 ships or sub and a ship aren't starred. But I can try to detect, let's have the Valdez try to detect ship number 2. 5/8 and a -1, so -2, 6. Nope, didn't detect it. Ferris, which is fast because of our event card. -1, 5/8, -2, 5. Nope, not detected. Alright. So fast actions are complete. Enemy sub actions, so move enemy units. Let's roll for the sub. Has a movement roll of -2, so 10, 9, 8. Flank or range -1, so can't flank. So the advantage of flanking is that it does get a +1 along here, and if it was up here, we would get a +2 sub attack. And then, okay, now let's move our Utilay. So roll a 6, +1 is 7, range -1. Okay, or the Krivac. Okay, let's roll. So it's going to attempt to detect my late golf. Remember, I have a noise management of 1, so I subtract 1 from the detection. 5, 4, not detected. It's back in the cup. Okay, now sub does have my Valdez detected, but it's at range 5 and it can only fire a missile at range 4. So let's just try to detect it again. 3. So they didn't increase the detection level, so this is 0, so it's going to drop. Detection next turn. Alright, so contacts, attempted detection, can't attack. Slow force actions. Iowa's just now let's just try to attempt. So it's at 5/9 detection, 0 skill modifier. Roll to 8, and 8 -1, 7. I forgot it. So 7, which is detected at level 1. Alright, so now I have an option. So this turns over. Detection level drops. So now he's not detected because it was at detection level 0. This goes down to detection level 0. So now I have to decide, do I want to expend Ordnance to try to get my 2 SOs, or do I just want to end the encounter and save my Ordnance for the target? So I'm going to choose to end the encounter. So I don't have any starred ships or subs. So, yep, I'm going to finish that. So we will put these back. Ship 1. Clear out the cards. And then if I go to here, I did sync the Utiloi. Actually, I think Golf did that. So CG55. So I gained 1 XP, and I did gain a VP, so put that down there. And now that the encounter is over, okay. So I draw my event card, Commander Kill Check. So the command ship, which is my Iowa, didn't suffer hit, so we're good. Alright, so that's the encounter. So let's show one more, an aircraft encounter, and then we'll wrap up the video. Alright, one more thing is I did forget, we have to add 2 stress to every ship. You can see the Iowa here has a cool, so it only suffers 1 stress, and so all of my ships have 2 stress. So you could see here 0 to 3, I'm still in the okay status range. 0 to 6, 0 to 7, 0 to 4. Alright. Okay, so now we move into our next area. So this is our mission target area, but it's also an air, there's a possible air attack. There's a frogfoot, no enemy task forces, so I roll, and I rolled an 8. So I'm going to have an enemy air attack. So let's go through that real quick. So there's my enemy aircraft. Where is my air? So Air 1 and enemy Air 1. Alright. So I place my aircraft at range 6. Enemy Air 1. Let's look at our engagement setup. So set up the encounter, which we just did. So fast actions. So I do have 3 fast action ships. I can't attack it. My Tycho has some SM-2 missiles, but the 4 in the circle there indicates that it is a range of 4. So I can't attack the aircraft yet, but I can attempt to detect it. So for air, 3-6 out to range 6, 5-8, 5-8. So 3-6 using that Aegis radar. Roll a 1. Not detected. Valdez, 5-8, 3. Ferris rolled a 10. So I subtract 2, 9, 8. And there's a 1 noise management number, so 7. So it is detected. Oops, here we go. So 7, 5, 8. So I did detect it at level 1. Alright, well that's good at least. So now enemy action. So this is the first turn. We don't do a return to base check, but we do move at 1. Draw for contacts. So there's my return to base number of 8 plus. So I'm going to detect 4. Now I can't attack until range 3. 2 to 3 is a missile attack, and then range 1 is a bomb attack. But I can't try to attack it or detect it, so 5, 8. Oh, it's at range 4 too. So we can't. So let's just skip the turn. So move our battle turn down to 4. And reduce our detection level back down to 0. So I still can't fire on him, but let's try to detect it. Increase the detection level, of course not. Valdez, nope. Ferris, 8. 7, 6. So I did detect it at level 1 again. Man, I'm in crappy detection rolls here. Alright, so now we do a return to base check. 5, so that doesn't return to base. He moves closer, now he's at range 4. And we draw 1 out of our cup. So he's going to try to detect. Try to detect 1, which is my Tycho. Range has a noise management of 1. Roll a 4. Minus 1 is 3, so he did not detect my ship. So that's good at least. See, I do have the Iowa who can attempt to detect, so 5, 9. That's my slow. 5, 9. So that is detection level 1. So we're that 1 already. Alright. Oops. So decrement battle turn. Okay. This stays here. Now we're back to our fast action. So now I have, oops, detect lower to 0. So he's within missile range here and detected at level 0. But let's see if we can use one of our other 2 fast ships to increase the detection level, because then I get a modifier. So Valdez, 9. Minus 2 air. Oops, Valdez. Minus 1 air. Minus 1 for noise. So 9, 8, 7. So he is detected at level 1, which is good. And let's see, Ferris. Nope. Alright. So the aircraft is going to be in weapons range this turn. And I know there aren't going to be any more air attacks. So I have an air +1 here, and my SM2s or VLSs, so what the heck. I'll just fire all 4 missiles and get a +1 for that, and then a +1 skill level. And so, whoops, so +2. Shouldn't have any trouble. Yeah, okay, got it. So destroyed Fogfoot aircraft coming in. And that ends our air encounter. Okay, so that's where I'm going to end the playtest video. I am in the mission target location, so I would go through the the surface ships and look for Slava and Tulois, and then go through the enemy sub and use an alpha. Since it specifically says alpha here, I don't need to draw from the unknown sub cup for that. And again, just like the random encounter, set up the range and azimuth, and then go through the procedure for the encounter setups here, the encounter execution, and then hopefully if I sunk all of the surface ships, then I would earn my 6 VPs, and my Task Force 1, if I did sink them, then I would slide my Task Force counter down 1 slot so that it's now 4. So instead of placing 5 enemy task forces, I only place 4 for the next mission. Okay, thanks.